Hey guys, what's going on? It's Ash here coming at you today in Raid Shadow Legends. A couple days ago, we ranked the top 10 rare champions in terms of sheer damage output based on damage multipliers on their skills, sharing those multipliers with you guys in that video. In case you missed it, I will link it in the show notes below. Today, we're going to go ahead and take a look at every champion in the game, so everybody is on the table. Who hits the hardest? Now, I want to give a big shout out to Ash's Voyager Raid Shadow Legends damage multiplier spreadsheet that I will go ahead and link for you guys in the show notes below. This is really helpful as a content creator because previously I had to dig out all this information from Reddit posts, from various websites, honestly not really knowing if it's 100% accurate. At least I have all this data now from one source, and a lot of people seem to be using and citing this spreadsheet as well, so I'm going to go ahead and stand by that data, and anecdotally it feels right too. All of these champions that I own feels on point in terms of these numbers. So when it comes to today's rankings, real quick guys, and I'm sorry for the long preamble, but when it comes to today's rankings, we're going to be ranking these champions based on total damage output, but we're going to also be given their multipliers as we go. So assuming you're attacking 5 champions, we're going to make this specific for dungeons, who can put out with all their abilities the most amount of sheer AoE nukage is going to be the criteria. And then as we go again, I will talk about the different multipliers on each of their big hitting, hard hitting abilities. Let's go ahead and jump in with number 10. So coming in at number 10 is Foley. Foley, an incredibly meta arena champion right now, especially in Platinum Arena. His A3 has a multiplier of 4 times. Now, a quick disclaimer, I'm not going to repeat this on every champion, but just like I spoke about in the rare champion video, guys, multipliers are not everything. Obviously, how you have them geared out, how many books you have in them for extra damage, all of this stuff matters. So again, just quick disclaimer, their base stats also matter a lot. So, you know, these are not the be-all, end-all. It's just in a perfect world scenario, who has the highest damage potential here. And again, Foley at number 10 has 1 AoE attack on a 4 times multiplier here on Seal Fate on a 4-turn cooldown. Now his other abilities, on his A1 it is a 0.9 multiplier on a 4 times hitter, and then on his A2 it's another 4-time hitter on a 1.5 multiplier. That is Foley. Next up is Ignatius, guys. Ignatius bears mentioning that he is the only defensive-based champion on today's list. He has insane multipliers on his A3, or his A2 and his A3, both AoE attacks, both on a 4-turn win booked and a 5-turn win booked on both of these abilities, okay? So it's nice that he has 2 AoEs because they are on longer cooldowns. Now again, his damage is based on defense, and his defense is 1266, so again, take this into consideration when evaluating him, despite these really high numbers here. So high number on this A2 is a 4.9 multiplier on Battle Shout. Attacks all enemies, then has a chance of landing that provoke as well. On the A3, it has the HP burn attack, and again, an AoE attack with a 5.6 damage multiplier. That's very, very high, but again, that is based on defense, which is a good thing considering you built him with a ton of defense, and he's hard to take down, he's hard to kill. He has that really robust durability that we like to see in champions, but I guess it's not a very bad thing, but a very small bad note that defense usually is not as high as the top attack-based champions in the game, maybe with all due respect to Valkyrie. So let's go ahead and move on to number 8. Next is actually Skullcrown, guys. Skullcrown, a very, very popular Void Epic champion here. On her A1, it is a 2-hitter if the target, has more than 50% HP. So this is a 2-hitter with a 2.4 multiplier on each hit. Not bad at all. And then on her A2, her harder hitting ability, it is a 4.3 multiplier plus landing that weaken on a 3-turn cooldown. So again, that's a 4.3 multiplier on her A2 with a 2.4 potential 2 times hitter on the A1. And also noteworthy on Skullcrown, again, high base attack at 1509, and both of her only active abilities are AoE attacks. So an AoE queen in Skullcrown. This one I was genuinely surprised on, guys. I have never had a lot of respect for War Mother for some reason. Maybe it's just the look. I mean, we're used to looking at these supermodel female characters. Nothing against the mothers out there, right? War Mother has some insane multipliers, guys. I always thought of her as kind of an AoE bomb layer and detonator, but not like just a sheer nuker. But hey, the stats speak for themselves. I'm sure some of you guys who have her can attest to this. I do not own War Mother. But on her A2, she's got an AoE attack on a 3-turn cooldown with a 4.2 multiplier on this. Also places the bombs, right? On the A3, she has a 4.5 multiplier on a 4-turn cooldown on Mother's Touch. So again, a 4.2 and a 4.5 multiplier. Her base attack is not as high as, say, Skull Crown, but still 1387 is not too bad. That's War Mother. Next up is the Dark Elf legendary champion Xavius. So Xavius has a A2 and an A3, which both hit pretty hard. Her A2 is a 2x multiplier, also has a chance of landing that poison, so not bad at all on a 3-turn cooldown, exactly what we're looking for. So again, 2 times on a 2-hitter though, so not too bad, right? And then on the A3, it's a 4.1 multiplier on Deadly Catalyst. So Deadly Catalyst 4.1, and then 2 times at 2-time multiplier on the A2. And of course, she's known for her A3, dealing the damage from all poison debuffs on that target instantly. Definitely a unique champion in Xavius, that she's a nuker, a poison layer, and a poison detonator, for lack of a better term. Next up is Rhobar. He's an orc champion, and Rhobar is a champion that another guy that we don't talk about a lot on the channel at all here. So I like these videos like this because we get a chance to, talk about a nice variety of champions. Another guy that I kind of slept on. One thing to note about on Rhobar is, first of all, his base attack is really high at 1619, but his base speed is incredibly low at 87 base speed. For a legendary champion. I'm not sure there's any champions lower. There probably is, but man, that is really, really low in terms of speed. However, with that said, man, he has a 100% chance on a 3-turn cooldown of landing a decreased defense big version on his A3. Not just that, but that's a 4.3 multiplier on this Wild Swing ability. This, believe it or not, is his hardest hitting ability in a vacuum. And the reason I say in a vacuum is because his A3 here is a 4.2 multiplier, so only a tenth of a percent off of his A2, less I should say, but also damage increases if the target is under sleep, stun, or freeze debuffs. The multiplier does not account for that damage increase. So the fact that he has a 4.2 and a 4.3 damage multiplier in his kit and a high base attack at 1619 makes Rhobar a champion that I'd really love to see in action in terms of just geared, really decked out in endgame gear, and see how hard he can hit for, maybe even in a Savage set, ignoring defense, maybe even with Helm Smasher. Good idea on all of these champions, by the way. Let's go ahead and move on to the next champ. Coming in at number 4 is Ethos, guys. So Ethos is a champion that I've always wanted to get my hands on. He just seems like such a fun nuker to have. He's a high elf void affinity champion. On his A1, this is kind of a chance at granting an extra turn. On his A2 here, it's all enemies 3 times on a 3-turn cooldown, so a 3-time AoE hitter, and then has a chance of placing that weaken debuff for 2 turns as well. Granted, the weaker version of the weaken debuff. Now his multiplier on this is pretty low, but it is a 3-hitter. It's a 1.4 multiplier, but it hits 3 times, so not too bad, right? And then on his A3, his big hard-hitting ability, the attack is always critical. You can book it up for more damage. Attacks all enemies on a 4-turn cooldown, again when booked here, and this is a 4.4 multiplier on Extinguished Life. That it certainly does. That is Ethos. Next up is my personal favorite nuker. I use her in Platinum Tier Arena. She is my main nuker, Trunda Gilt Mallet. So Trunda Gilt Mallet, believe it or not, has the highest multiplier in the game on her A2, for an AoE attack, I should say, on her A2. It's a 6-time multiplier. However, with that said, it's only on 1 target and then attacks all other enemies with a second hit, dealing 60% of the damage inflicted from the first hit. So essentially, I'm not sure if this math actually translates, but it's a 3.6 multiplier after the 6 multiplier lands first. Now on her A3, it's a double hitter with the HP burn potential. I build her out with low accuracy so I can ensure she's always getting those 2 hits. That is arena specific though. If you're using using her for Spider's Den, obviously you're going to want to place that HP burn. But I have low accuracy. I don't care about the stuns or the HP burn. I want to nuke hard, and there's a 3 times multiplier on the Forge Rhythm on 2 hits potentially, which is a high multiplier for having a 2-hitter with a base attack of 1608. So definitely capable of putting out some serious damage both on her A3 and on her A2. She also has a passive that increases her speed and resistance for each stun debuff this champion places on enemies. So that is Trunda Gilt Mallet. Coming in at number 2 is Ray. So Ray is so good. Definitely a top tier nuker inside the game. She has AoEs on every single ability here. Let's talk about the multipliers. Not only is she landing freeze, not only is she dealing more damage against targets with debuffs, but she has an A1 on AoE of a 2.5 multiplier. She has a multiplier on the A2 of 4.3. And the multiplier on, plus the extra damage against targets under debuffs. And then the multiplier on the A3 is 5.3 with the freeze granted on a 6-turn cooldown. So really hard-hitting ability. 5.3 multiplier, again 4.3 and 2.5 on 3 of her AoE abilities. Granted, her base attack isn't as high as some of the other attackers we've seen here, but there's no doubt about it, she can put out some of the most damage in the game, and she has 3 very powerful AoE attacks in her kit. So if it's not Ray, who the heck is number 1? It's actually, believe it or not, in terms of overall damage potential, it is Biggin. Biggin is a beast. I've been saying that for a long time, but Biggin has AoEs, again, on every single one of his skills. He also has turn meter manipulation on his A3 and a 5-turn. He's got a stun chance, decrease accuracy on a 3-turn on his A2, and then he has a 1 enemy, and then all enemies 1 time if the first attack is critical on his A1. So on his A1, it's a 2.5 multiplier, same as Ray's. On the A2, it's going to be a 3.6 multiplier here on forward charge. Really nice ability, it does a lot of damage. And then on the A3, it is a 1.9 multiplier, but he's hitting twice on that. So again, a 2-hitter at 1.9, we have a 3.6 and a 2.5 on the A1 with, again, a high base attack and a high base speed, which you love to see here on Biggin. So there you have it, guys. Those are the top 10 champions in the game with all their damage multipliers ranked on how much potential damage they can do to 5 targets inside this game. If you want me to go ahead and make another video like this, maybe focusing on rare and then separating epic and legendaries, or just separating epics altogether with single target damage dealers, can do the same thing, let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching and supporting the channel, guys. If you like the content here, I invite you to subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, take care, guys.